Hello all, it's Railway Stories 123 here, and today I wanted to do something a little different. So for those who don't know, today is World Autism Awareness Day, which is part of Autism Acceptance Month. And I wanted to make a little video essay on the special relationship between Thomas and Friends and autism. A lot of people on the Thomas fan base, both children and adults alike, have been diagnosed with autism at some point in their lives, myself included. And studies have shown that Thomas has had a positive influence in autistic people's emotions and social development. There's even been reports of speech and language improvement due to their bond with Thomas and his friends. So without further ado, this is Thomas the Tank Engine and autism, a special relationship. What is autism? Autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, is a neurodevelopmental disorder, usually diagnosed during the first 3 years of someone's life, and may be accompanied by other physical or psychological disorders. It is traditionally characterized by impairments in social communication, social interaction, and imagination abilities, and can be assigned to an absence of the mentalizing ability in a person diagnosed with autism. Impairments in social communication include difficulties in processing language and interpreting facial expressions, body language, and the tone of voice. Children on the spectrum also tend to only focus on the literal meanings rather than the underlying meanings of metaphors or figures of speech used during communication. Children diagnosed with ASD often appear withdrawn and aloof. They tend to be uncomfortable in most social settings and have problems forming deep social relationships. This is a direct result of their inability to process emotions easily. They are also unable to maintain eye contact because they feel overloaded with information coming in simultaneously through a number of channels: speech, body language, and facial expressions. To avoid such sensory overload, they retreat into their own world of understanding and clarity, thus appearing uninterested and rude to those around them. This marks the impairments in social interaction. Deficits in the ability to understand abstract ideas and imagine situations outside their daily routine form the impairments in social imagination. These impediments tend to confine a child to his own mind, not allowing them to deal with any changes to routine. For this reason, such children tend to engage in rigid and repetitive activities and are unable to indulge in imaginative or interpersonal play. In my case, I was diagnosed when I was around 2 or 3. I couldn't speak until I was about 6, and until that time I used sign language in order to communicate with people. Even after I was able to speak, I continued to use sign language until I was about 8. Now, if I'm being honest, I've forgotten most of it. Like, I know some words, but I draw blank at others. Anyway, I've been in specialised units within mainstream schools until I was about 14. From that point, I was mostly in mainstream lessons and started to hang out with my fellow mainstream students, or normies as I like to call them. It took a while, but I copped on to what life was like out there, and it was a different world than I was used to, but I adapted. Now I'm able to do stuff I've never thought I'd be able to do, like go out with friends to pubs or nightclubs, and even get a university degree in filmmaking. But that's enough about me. Back to the video. Why Thomas? So why is Thomas popular with people on the spectrum? Well, to find this out, I read a report from the National Autism Society after they conducted a survey of parents of children with autism and Asperger's syndrome in 2001 to investigate their special relationship with Thomas. Actually, I could be totally wrong here, but I think I was part of that experiment. I remember going to some place in a room with doctors and watching that episode Off the Rails while on a Thomas ride-on. Anyway, what I was going to do in this video was read some parts of the report to you lot to see what their findings were, but I'm not going to do that. Actually, I recorded myself saying most of the report, but I think that's all it was, just reading the report. I was speaking like a doctor, not a person with autism. The report just basically said that Thomas and his friends are trains, or they're trains with details, or the crashes that they have, and even the fact that they have wheels, with the fact that it was so popular with people on the spectrum. I mean, they do hold some interesting points, but I'm not going to go into such complicated detail with you lot. I'm going to tell you from a point of view that counts. An actual person with autism. Me. I'll keep this part short and sweet. For me, my story is that Thomas was a source of comfort in a very complicated world. I didn't have any real friends until I was about 15. And some of my happiest memories in childhood was watching my VHS tapes and playing with my wooden railway Automian Trackmaster set in my bedroom. And there, I can make up my own world and set my own set of rules in a society where trains can have their own conversations with each other. I think I talked about this before in a previous video when I was starting secondary school and I was scared of people finding out about my love for Thomas, so I had to say goodbye for about part of 5 years. But I couldn't just chuck out my toys. I thought, I ain't the only one that has trouble understanding the complexities of the real world, so what I did was I gave my toys to a nearby nursery, like I was offering children a way to understand some things that people like me on the autistic spectrum have trouble understanding. So like, children like me could have the same luxury of comfort as I once had. It did break my heart saying goodbye for a while, but it was the right thing to do. Theo.
Come on out, Theo! It's a visitor!
I didn't want to make this video without giving a special mention to Theo. In 2017, Mattel released the direct-to-DVD film Journey Beyond Sodor. In the film, Thomas takes James's trucks to prove his importance on Sodor, so he sets off on a big adventure to the mainland. On the way, he makes friends with the cheerful and helpful experimental engines. One of them, of course, being Theo.
That's Theo. He's shy, lack of confidence. He thinks he looks awkward and uncoordinated.
Are you being scrapped? Scrapped?
Theo, played by BAFTA-winning actor Darren Boyd, was described as shy and awkward. He has an unusual experimental drive system that doesn't always run very smoothly, and he makes sudden jolts forward or back when his rods and cogs jam. While Mattel hasn't outright said that the experimental engine was autistic, many are recognising autistic traits with Theo. Christopher Keenan, Senior Vice President of Global Content and Executive Producer at Mattel Creations, said, Theo very much wears his emotion on his sleeve and is not as comfortable with other people as he is with mechanics. He's very peculiar. He likes to understand how things work. He likes to understand the world around him, and sometimes there's difficulty communicating or being understood. So we think he's going to be highly relatable. Ian McHugh, senior producer of Thomas and Friends, said, with the characteristics of Theo, there's an intentional nod to autism, albeit a subtle one, for our autistic fan base, some of who have become good friends. As MacLeod mentions, among the many Thomas fans in the world, many are also members of the autism community. Over the years, Thomas the Tank Engine has attained an important role in autism therapy, in large part due to reports from parents around the world unanimously confirming people's intriguing relationship with the character. Me personally, Thomas has definitely helped me with my social development, and if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be the person I am today. When you're a person with autism or an Aspie, I didn't even know that was a term until today, oh well, it can be pretty lonely at times. I was 2 or 3 years old when I was diagnosed with autism. It took a bit of time to understand what that actually meant, and accept the fact that that was indeed who I was. But now, I am 23 years old and I'm in a position where I can finally say I'm damn well proud of who I am. I can do so many great things with it. I can also enjoy Thomas, which I actually do enjoy very much. I don't want to give up on the little blue tank engine though, like I did all those years ago. He and his friends on the island of Sodor have brought me a long way, and have taught me to learn things that are very important in life. I also want to thank the Reverend W. Audrey for introducing us to this little blue tank engine who wanted to see the world. Thank you, Mr. Audrey. Thank you.